You mentioned the idea of internal displacement versus external refugees.
Yeah.
And I think it's a distinction that people who are not in the humanitarian aid sector probably don't have a good handle on. Can you talk about the difference between them, particularly the differences in sort of the needs of that population and how you would serve each one uniquely?
Coming out of World War II, when our sort of global institutions were built, there has been a refugee convention, which is really about the world order agreeing to support people that have, because initially predominantly because of conflict, were forced to leave their home countries, cross the border to find safety or asylum someplace else, and then be able to have a new life and live safely in that new context. For us, we work in a number of protracted crises. For instance, in Rwanda, we are delivering services in refugee camps where there are Burundians who have been there for 20 years. Or in Uganda, we also have folks that have been living in these camps for decades. It depends on the country in which they land. Some countries like Rwanda and Uganda provide some sort of freedom of movement, ability to work, ability to buy land, ability to basically operate as anybody else might be able to. Many of them will choose to remain in those refugee camps because they get benefits. They do get some amount of food or cash or medical attention or schools, and it's easier for them in some respects. Most people do not choose to live in refugee camps beyond what
Hmm.
necessary. It is a very restrictive environment. It is really difficult to thrive in the context of a refugee camp, really difficult to pursue your future. And so many people want to get out when they can. There are other countries where if you are in a refugee camp, it is almost more akin to being in prison. There may be fences or walls up. You may not have any freedom of movement. You may need to apply for a pass to be able to leave the camp. And that may be often denied to you. You're not able to work outside of the camp. You're not able to buy land or buy a house. Your kids aren't able to go to school outside of the camp. And that's pretty normal. And it's just like a very highly restrictive environment that, yeah, I think to me, when I visit, really does feel like you were essentially imprisoning people that had committed no crime and really done nothing other than had the identities that they'd had and been in the wrong place at the right time. Internally displaced people are people that have had to leave their homes due to could be natural disasters or climate change, or it could be conflict. So, for instance, in Somaliland, we work in outskirts of Hargeisa, which is the capital of Somaliland, which is a region of Somalia. We work with a lot of particularly women who have for generations, their families have been nomadic herders. That means that they are basically roaming the land with hundreds of combination of camels and goats and cattle. And over particularly the last decade or so, due to climate change, we have seen just repeated droughts. And those droughts have meant that most of those nomadic herders have lost the majority of their livestock. They're just unable to lead lives as nomadic herders anymore. So they're moving
Hmm.
into the outskirts of Hargeisa. They're looking to move into these settlements to start new homes. And so these are folks that yes, they do have freedom of movement inside Somaliland. They could go other places, but they've really lost it all. Their entire livelihoods have fallen apart. They don't really know what else to do. And they really do need some support as they transition from being nomadic herders to being families that live in a settlement and stay in the same place year after year. We work with both sets of folks. Their needs are often different. Refugees, there's a lot more sort of the legal and registration and getting you're officially designated as a refugee to be eligible for those services. Internally displaced people generally not. But that said, there is an extreme amount of disruption that happens in their lives as well that often requires trauma recovery and psychosocial support, retraining, or new
Hmm.
livelihoods types opportunities to help people understand what to do next. And then certainly the support with basic needs around housing and water and sanitation and education.
Got it. Thank you for the detailed explanation.